we empower education innovators, entrepreneurs to come up with solutions for education. So under the Edtech Club, we have various initiatives. One of them is the TIV STEM Center, or what stands for the Innovation Village STEM Center. So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And what we do under the STEM Center is empower the young generation with digital skills that will help prepare them for the future of work. I'm so happy to be speaking to you, the community of freelancers in Uganda and wherever that you're coming from. Freelancing is one aspect of life that we've lived with ever since time immemorial. I think even before formal jobs were introduced, freelancing already existed. By the mere fact that you're in this community, I'm so glad to be able to give a talk about the impact of Edtech on freelancing, specifically in Uganda or Africa. So I'm just going to share with you my presentation. This is going to be an interactive presentation. You can always feel free to ask the question anytime, and you can always feel free to make a contribution. Every now and then, I'll be asking you a few prompts here and there, and we'll be able to exchange knowledge. This is not going to be a one-man show. It's going to be for all of us. Before we can get started, I'm just going to take you through a few things. Going back to the Edtech Club, I said we have the STEM Center under the Edtech Club in the Innovation Village. We have also the Science Discovery Program, a program that is focused on educating the community about science through interactive and fun ways to interest people in science, so that we can be able to innovate using science as the driver. We all know that without the advances in technology and science, freelancing would not have been very easy to carry out, because you find that nowadays we have people doing freelancing, having freelance gigs for companies in the US, in the UK, in Europe, across Africa, but when they are mostly Ugandans. So there are certain platforms that have enabled that. And without innovation, science and technology, that wouldn't have been very much possible. So I'm glad to be presenting to you right now. We also have the Edtech Mondays. So the Edtech Mondays is a platform that is dedicated to hold discussions and impact policy in the Edtech community in Uganda. So it's a program funded by the MasterCard Foundation and implemented by Innovation Village. It airs every last Monday of the month on NTV. So today it will be airing at around 5. But you can always pick up that discussion on our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and X. So I'm just going to begin with a brief introduction of myself. But before we can go to that, today's topic, we're going to be looking at powering success through Edtech-driven continuous learning. And we shall delve deep into Edtech, then look at continuous aspects of continuous learning and how that can power the freelance economy. Before we can go any further, we're going to have a simple icebreaker from the community, and then I'll introduce myself, and then I'll share my journey as a freelance. So let's begin with the icebreaker. In just 3 statements, I'd like to hear from at least a number of people. Just 3 things they love about freelancing, 2 things they find challenging about freelancing, and 1 thing they really hate about freelancing, before we can continue. I can start with myself. 3 things that I love about freelancing. one, it gives me freedom and flexibility. Two, it enables me to push hard because I'm fending for myself. And three, it connects me to a community across the world where I wouldn't have reached, you never know, if I wasn't doing freelancing. And two things that I find challenging is that the ability to continuously learn and adapt from the ever-changing and dynamic landscape, and also the technology requirements that are needed. And then one thing I hate about freelancing, I don't think I have anything I hate about freelancing. But you never know, I can hear from you. So you can just put up your hand and briefly share those three reflections.
Yeah, guys, feel free, just unmute, speak, or you raise your hand or write in the chat, whatever is easier for you. If you write in the chat, I will read for you, but it's going to be longer. Just unmute and speak or raise your hand. Yeah, on my side, I think I'm not yet prepared, so I can't have all the three, but what I love is the team dynamics. I don't face any politics or corporate dynamics and politics in any way as a freelancer. The challenge, I think the challenge is that you get to do most of the work yourself. For hating, even me, I am like Abdallah, I have I hate at the moment. So another person, just share, then we warm up and start.
Thank you. My name is Joshua Subika. Maybe the one thing, not the three as you've said, but the one thing I love about freelancing is working outside the box, just like the analogy of thinking outside the box, which also match with freelancing. So with freelancing, you can even work outside the daily schedules where compared to where you're in a fixed work environment. So here you're able to stretch yourself and work or think outside the box and stretch yourself, connect with a number of people and skills, just like this webinar we are having, or this meeting we are having today. So that's what I appreciate about freelancing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. We can take two more contributions and move forward.
Hi, my name is Catherine Comhanj. I'm a freelancer as well. I don't want to be repetitive because I agree with most of what everyone has said. I think for me, the main challenge is the unpredictability in income, because some months are quite busy and amazing, and some months are slow. So I think that's the main thing I either hate or the challenge that I have with freelancing. And I think maybe actually another one would be, to an extent, not having a sense of community, right? In the sense that most people have like work parties or after work drinks and stuff, but when you're a freelancer, you're usually by yourself, you know. So the opportunities to meet other people, you have to be really, really intentional about them. Yeah. So those are the two main things I would say. Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine, for those two challenges. I think we can all relate when it comes to partying and making connections when you're a freelancer. And can you take the last person and then we move on? Yeah, you can always feel free because we're freelancers. So feel free, be a free spirit. No one's going to hold you accountable for what you say, but just make sure we maintain the community standards. Okay, let me proceed forward. Thank you very much for those reflections, for those that have managed to contribute. So just a brief bio about myself. My name is Sseruwagi Abdallah. I lead the Edtech Club at the Innovation Village, and I also serve as a center manager for the TIV STEM Center. I also have some personal works that I do, mostly in freelancing, and I work as an Edtech consultant. During my free time, I develop Edtech platforms. I help organizations scale up the operations in terms of user capture, and a lot of more things. I'm also a family man. I enjoy swimming. I also enjoy hiking and also enjoy traveling. So that's a little bit about myself. So my journey as a freelancer began around 2011 when I started giving out my services as a teacher. So I began my career as a teacher. So before I even started teaching, I was working as a teacher. So I used to move around coaching children, mostly in A-level mathematics and physics. And it was quite a fun experience to me because I thought I'm doing something that is easy for me and something that I love, but I was earning money out of it. And when I proceeded to join the School of Education, I also continued the same. I could just feature in some schools, could invite me to give lessons in mathematics, but not working as a full-time employee. I kind of, that time, I kind of didn't want to be tied down as a teacher in one school because I found it interesting having my skills shared across the board, across many schools and across many individuals without being tied out from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Like a normal school. So I've done a lot of things in freelancing, that is diversified freelancing. During my time at School of Education, I enrolled in a diploma in civil engineering, basically because that was my major passion. Just to take back a little bit, I used to do some bit of also site works with my father. My father is a civil engineer, so I used to do some site works with him during the vacation. So I had that passion of doing civil engineering. So one time, as someone said, that sometimes business is slow, and when you're at the university, you also need to survive. So I had that passion for civil engineering. So I enrolled for a diploma, and I managed to complete it before even I graduated. I started to look out for jobs, but jobs were not so easy to get. The jobs that I could get could not allow me to do my full-time studies and also work full-time. So I decided on, okay, how can I make some income with the knowledge that I've acquired in civil engineering, but also continuing my studies at the same time without any breaks. So I researched and looked out for the skills that I might need to work as a freelance in civil engineering. So one of the main things that I found that would be easy for me to do was to work as a quantity surveyor, or some of the people call a QS. So this is a person that mainly deals with calculations of materials and all the things that are needed for a construction project. I found my entry when I was browsing through one of the online job platforms. That time it was called OLX. So OLX these days is called Gigi. So I was like, I looked out for jobs, and then I saw one of the paint companies advertising a job. So I said apply. They were looking for a quantity surveyor. So I said apply, and luckily I got a job. So it was somehow like a contract, a job, or a training. During that time, I didn't know the analogy of freelancing. It didn't occur to me that it was freelancing. But right now, I understand that it was freelancing. So my arrangement was to work with this company to reconcile them with their construction clients by taking measurements and giving them bills of quantities to show how much material has been used. So what happened is that I was able to do this on a call basis. So when they have the job, they call me, I do the job, they pay me, I go home. So I did this for close to 2 years, and I enjoyed it so much, because I even found out that other paint companies had the same challenge, and I was freelancing for them as well. After that, I left and joined still freelancing in sales. I was working in sales for a startup paint company, and I was hired as a part-time sales manager because the company didn't have a lot of resources to hire a full-time person to take care of the sales and take care of the staff there. So I joined, and it was quite a challenging time to me because I was still very young, and I was managing these people that were professional salespeople, some of them coming from reputable firms and having a lot of reputation on them. And there was a small boy by that time trying to manage them. It was quite a steep learning curve for me, and I had to force myself to learn a lot of things so that I could be able to adapt. And long story short, I come back to the education, whereby I joined education technology firm around Kampala, and I start working a job. That is, I've stepped away from freelancing now. But after working for close to 3 years, I realized that I needed to do more impact, and the nature of the job that I was doing was not allowing me to kind of have that big impact that I wanted. So I looked out for some jobs online, freelance jobs online during COVID, and I was able to land 2 freelancing jobs, and these were like real big contracts with firms in the US. It was another level of adjustment because the way the quality of work that is needed by those firms is quite higher compared to the work that is presented here in Uganda, and the expectations are different, and people look at things differently compared to how we look at things here in Uganda. So I had to adapt from, I had to take like 1 month of onboarding. They took me through 1 month of onboarding, trying to learn the ways of work, of how the firms do. Given the fact that I was a freelancer, I even had a freelancer's contract. And I found myself that I had to learn a lot of things to be able just to do a simple task. And that's how I got encouraged and challenged to take on the task of Edtech, or the role of Edtech in helping freelancers to adjust to their jobs or the demands of their clients or customers. So I worked for these few US-based firms for close to two years as a freelance. I had to travel several times. We were working remotely as a team, but we could meet like on quarterly basis in different countries. So it exposed me a lot as a freelancer. And this is one of the benefits of freelancing, because you never know what the next job is going to be or what the next experience is going to be. I moved close to 7 countries during that time, just trying to meet the team, trying to work or create for physical sessions to get that feeling of in person. And it helped me a lot. And also during that time, I built a learning platform that was used across Africa by teachers to learn a certain program. So I can say my journey as a freelancer has not been very hard, but it has also not been very smooth. When people talk about freelancers, some people only think that people who freelance are only freelancers full-time. There are several bits. If you look through the CVs of most people that are working currently, at least they have done freelance work in some point in their career. And there is a lot to learn from that. Some love it and some hate it. Me personally, I do love it. Yeah, so that's my journey as a freelancer, and I can say I'm proud of it, and I can say I'm proud of standing in front of you and sharing with you some of my stories as a freelancer. So before we can go on to the next item, I'd like to hear from you, just maybe one or two people. Could you share with us a brief instance of where you had to adapt your skill level to meet the customer's demands? Take an instance, you've been working as a freelance digital artist or a freelance content creator, and then you meet this client X, and then you have to really adapt and acquire more knowledge to be able to accomplish a certain task. You could briefly share with us one or two people. You can feel free to unmute and speak, or you can put up your hand. Freelancers should be free, so you should feel free to speak.
Abdallah, maybe repeat the question.
Yes, I'm asking that could you briefly share with us an instance when you're freelancing where you had to learn a new skill to accomplish a task that you got from a client?
Yeah. You know, people on the call are always watching YouTube videos to finish gigs. Yeah, so guys, just feel free and share any instance where you've had to level up for you to do a certain assignment. I don't know which other language to use. Just share, feel free to share. Me personally, I do it all the time. You can get an assignment where there's something which maybe you don't know, and you have to go and watch some videos, a whole playlist, and then you sort it out. And me as an individual, I use YouTube majorly. Guys, feel free. Like Abdallah says, freelancers are free. So any other person who has a method or technique or systems by which they learn.
Okay, so you can keep on thinking about it. You can keep on reflecting about it.
When it comes up. Okay, got it.
You can keep on reflecting about it. You can always share your reflections in the group in the chat. Let us briefly look at what we're going to talk about today, just in a nutshell. So we're going to discuss a little bit about current trends in freelancing. We shall also talk about education technology, then how to leverage EdTech for success in freelancing. And then we shall look at maybe how to build a learning plan to enable you to thrive as a freelancer. And then you can be able to share your stories, and then to have a Q&A, and then we'll be able to wrap up. So let's begin by looking at the freelance landscape. Most of the information that is available is in Western countries. That shows you that ideally we need to level up as freelancers in Africa. It's not that there are no freelancers in Africa, but maybe the level of organization, the level of jobs that they accomplish, the level of skills that we do have kind of not yet there. But I believe we are work in progress, and we can always catch up with how the world is moving. So so the freelance landscape is booming. So according to a recent study, over 50 million people in the US alone engage in freelance work. So this trend is driven by desire for flexibility and ability to work remotely. You can testify to this when you are on a job website like LinkedIn. If a job is posted and it has remote work, you usually find that before even you apply, you'll be like 500 plus applications have been sent in. Why? It's because of the benefits of that kind of work that could be done from the comfort of your home or from your own schedule. So that has partly contributed to the rise in numbers of people that are willing to do freelance. Also, the in-demand activities like personal education, like responsibilities, have led to people to take on freelancing. So you find that someone is in for further studies, and the studies are so demanding on them, but they have a skill that they can do on site to earn their money and support their families. So they end up taking on freelancing. And in this way, freelancing kind of boosts or adds on their development or their income to kind of be able to push their ideas. So we can have a small task. As I say, this is going to be an interactive session, so you can always feel free to chip in here and there. I know some of us are doing this while are listening in while doing other things, but you can always chip in and give your contribution so that we can be able to have a collective event. Before I can proceed, what are some of the in-demand skills for freelancers currently? So you as a freelancers, what are some of the in-demand skills that you feel, what are some of the in-demand skills that you feel you need currently to help you thrive or to succeed as a freelancer? Yes, Kusubika Joshua.
Kisubika Joshua. Yeah, I believe digital marketing is one of them. And of course, selling from the previous webinars we had here. I think if you can't sell anything as a freelancer, then it's better you go back to employment.
I think I really agree with that. Selling is a very critical aspect of freelancing because here you're selling your skills, you're selling your abilities to would-be prospective buyers, and they'll be able to give you contracts or give you gigs to do. Do you have any other contribution from anyone? So NASA is saying pricing seems to be another one. So you have to know how to price your services properly, because without the right prices, then you cannot find the buyers. Because if you overprice them, then no one will show up to buy them. If you underprice them, someone will be like, okay, this seems cheap. Maybe the person doesn't know what they're doing. So you have to know the right pricing. Before I can read out another one, what do you think are some of the aspects you consider while pricing? What are some of the things that you really put in consideration while pricing your services as a freelancer? Mobiru Shadrach is saying sales and marketing also is one of them. I completely agree with that. John Nakaiwa is saying great customer care and building rapport is one of them. Yes, best customer care is really one of them. You know, it's a common vice among some freelancers. When they finish their job, they run away. Sometimes they even don't hand in reports. Sometimes they don't have closure for the contract. So usually it's good to have closure for the contract. You sit with the client and discuss with them, try to get as much feedback as you can from them. And you get that feel, how are they feeling about your service? What do you need to improve? What did you do better? And from there, you'll also be gathering information to help you to learn and maybe handle better the next contract. But usually it's a common vice among some freelancers. When they finish the contract, they just take off. Also, Lovis Ayevale is saying in interpersonal skills. So this is good for client retainment. Yes, interpersonal skills play a crucial role. If you cannot communicate effectively, if you cannot be courteous, then of course the client will have to move on and look for someone else. If every time they're asking you for deliverables, you're being rude, you're shouting back at them, of course they will just cancel the contract. So she's also saying you can't keep clients if you do not know how best to relate with them. That is very true. Master Godfrey is saying time management skills is also crucial to a freelancer. Time management is very important in terms of the time frame that has been given for you to accomplish the contract, the deliverables, timeline deliverables. Some contracts are pinned on timelines. So you find that someone has got a contract as a freelancer. Maybe, for example, I can give you an instance. A professor had a presentation and he needed services from someone to craft for them that presentation from a technical aspect. And this freelancer accepts the job, gets partial payment, and switches off the phone when tomorrow's presentation. So you see that's very, very, very catastrophic. And sometimes you put yourself in danger of being sued because of the damages you cause to such people. So Gerard Ayakins said competitors, pricing, nature of the industry, and cost of producing my product. I guess I can determine the pricing. So is adding on the factors that determine pricing of his products or services. And then Shiba Ainzaviona, she's saying prioritizing tasks, accomplishing them according to their deadlines. That's very, very crucial. Yeah, thanks for the contributions. You can keep them coming as we go on. Those are some of the things that we can look out as freelancers. So going on to the next item. So what is the importance of continuous learning? Before I can even look at this, what do you understand by continuous learning as freelancers? So for example, what do you understand as continuous learning as freelancers? In your own simple words, you don't have to use complicated terms. You could say it out as though you are speaking to a child. What do you understand as by continuous learning? So Gerald, please go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Abdallah. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right. To me, continuous learning is more to do with updating myself with relevant skills or knowledge that's happening in the industry. And I'm talking about the trends that the world is changing and everything is evolving. So it requires that you continuously update yourself towards that direction, as opposed to being stuck or being in a situation where you feel like whatever you acquired in the past, that's all that you need to know. Yeah, that's what I understand by it.
Thank you very much, Gerald. Then Joan Nakai was saying adapting to something new. Okay, that's very good. So specifically, continuous learning in simple terms means being able to acquire new knowledge every time. Acquiring knowledge every time. It means do not stop learning. Learning is a continuous process, and every time you learn, then you add on something on your value as a freelancer. The freelance economy usually thrives on the value that you bring on table. So if your value ceases to add to something to the clients, then you lose market as a freelancer. So that's why it's always good to continuously learn and adapt, because the market that we're in is highly dynamic. It keeps on changing. If you're a graphic designer and you know how to use a specific software, tomorrow another software might be in demand. So you are required to learn that specific software. If you're a developer and you know how to develop from a certain platform and it's in demand today, tomorrow there might come a completely different platform and you have to learn to adapt to that platform. There are so many people that are coming back to learn software development, specifically Python, because by the time they were studying as software developers or as computer scientists, the language was not so popular and was not so much in use. But you find that now it has taken over and most of the applications are being developed using that specific language. So they need to adapt in order to remain relevant on market, so they are able to learn something new, add on what they already know. And continuous learning is like iterative in nature. You learn a few things each and every day, and there are some will add up to something big. So as freelancers, we are responsible for our own professional development. Continuous learning helps us to stay competitive, opens up new opportunities, and can significantly increase our earning potential. So the more skills you have, the more knowledge you have, the more your earning potential as a freelancer. If given chance to hire between a freelancer that knows how to do something multiple ways, has mastered one skill but knows how to do it in multiple ways, and one who has only one approach, then of course I'll always choose one that can do for me a presentation, can do for me nice icons and graphics, can do for me a short video, all in one package. So clients expect freelancers to be cutting edge, which means we need to be proactive about learning and skills development. So by the time a client hires a freelance, just know that they have tried that thing and it has failed. In most cases, we get gigs from industry professionals, and those industry professionals expect us to know something that they do not know. So you could get a gig from a software development firm, and they want you to develop a specific software because maybe in their portfolio of work they've not done it before, or maybe in their group of people they have, employees, no one can accomplish a specific task. So you find that they look out for freelancers to accomplish certain tasks. And when you're brought onto the team, trust me, everyone will be looking out to be like, yes, Wamara. Yes, Wamara. Okay, so Wamara, your hand was up. Do you have anything you want to contribute? Okay. So the thing here is the thing. I was saying that when you're hired on a team as a freelancer, everyone looks at you as that expert, as that professional, looks at you with a lot of expectations. Trust me, my time when I was in Washington, I went there as a freelancer to help develop a learning platform or learning management system for a certain organization, and everyone was looking at me as an expert. And sometimes you could look at even people that you feel know better than you, they look at you as an expert. Because also sometimes the wages you are on are higher than they are on, given the fact that yours is a short-term contract and you're there as almost in the capacity of a consultant. So as a freelancer, yes, Catherine?
Hi, I just wanted to ask, since you mentioned as well, what's the difference between a freelancer and a consultant?
Okay, so a freelancer can be a consultant. A freelancer can be a consultant, and a consultant doesn't necessarily mean that they're a freelancer. A consultancy can be a firm a firm or an agency that has been established as a full-time work, and that is their line of work. For example, a marketing consulting agency, marketing consulting company, an education edtech consulting company, a software consulting company in specific fields. So they usually have a collection of experts that are able to look at a specific problem and find solutions for it. And that's their full-time work. Whereas a freelance is usually, a freelance can also have an agency, but they are not tied down to specific obligations or specific time frames that, okay, my agency works this, this, and this. Whereas a freelancer can organize themselves in such a way and be like a professional agency in terms of their work times, their days, their leaves, their off, depending on how they want to organize their calendar. So consultants usually work with a group of people to be able to accomplish a certain task, whereas freelancers mainly work alone or work with certain people for a short period of time and move on to another group of people. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, Catherine.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So okay, so yeah, after maybe after all that, we could ask ourselves this, just in a few words: what drives you what drives you to learn a new skill as a freelancer? So I'm just going to type this in the chat. So what drives you to learn a new skill as a freelance? I can start with myself. I always reach out to learn a new skill every time opportunity provides itself. For example, I can take on, or you can be a freelancer and you take on a contract as maybe a website developer. But you find in your line of website development, you've only mastered maybe one framework of development, and you need to maybe acquire a new skill to be able to accomplish that task. So what drives me mostly is the need to accomplish a new task. So you can always feel free to share with us. So Kamali Innocent says, in order to be confident such that you can compete with others who have such a new skill. That's very good. So when you have an asset of skills or an armor of skills or in your armory, set of skills in your armory, you always feel confident. Then Wamara Burafiki says, when I lack knowledge, skill in a task. That's very good. So for him, when he feels that he lacks a knowledge or there is a knowledge gap in the task that is ahead for him, he is compounded to learn a new skill. Singozi Simon Peter says, the love I have for it and the financial aspect of it. That's very good. Financial aspect is very important. So Master Godfrey says, changing technology. Yeah, that's very, very crucial. So you know that we are in a dynamic world. Technologies come and go. Some roles become useless and others become useful. So Wamari, have your hand up. Okay, Musingu Simon Peter says, okay, then Master Godfrey says, changing technology. Gerard Ayakin says, I learn a new skill to stand out. That's very good. Then Moronji Ruth says, to stand out on the market. That's very good. So all those are valid points to learn a skill, to drive you to learn a skill. But all that is kind of pegged to the education technology. Some of us have used different tools and platforms when we do not know that actually these are edtech platforms. So we going to delve a little bit further in Edtech and we see. So after knowing why you need to learn a new skill, then you must know how to approach it. You must know how to approach it. Wamara, do you have your hand up, or it's just okay? I think it's just something that is after knowing the justification for learning a new skill, why we need to learn a new skill, we are supposed to know where to get those new skills, because also the quality of skills matters. Just having a skill does not mean a lot, but the quality of skill and what you can use the skill matters a lot. So what is Edtech? Before I can give you my definition, can you try to define for me Edtech in simple terms? One or two people, just what Edtech is. Catherine Komhanji says, learning using technology. That's very good. I can have one more person and we can delve deeper. Use technology to learn. That is Maya Mtiava. That's very good. So I'm single. Simon Peter, you have your hand up.
Yes, I believe EduTech is any platform that is used to provide education to the masses. Yeah, it could be online, but it's a technology that is used to provide education.
Thanks very much, Musinguzi. Technology that is used to provide education. Then Kamali Innocent says, learning using digital tools. That's very good. Master Godfrey says, to me, it refers to learning by use of digital tools. That's also very good. In all your responses, there is one thing that is an intersection, that is learning and somehow technology, because when you look at digital skills, also those ones are a form of technology. But Edtech actually refers to all technology that we use to facilitate learning, or we use to learn, from online courses to mobile learning apps. Edtech is transforming how we acquire knowledge. So Edtech in itself, generically, is the technology that is used in learning. So Edtech can be split into two. There is digital Edtech tools and then non-digital Edtech tools. So with the digital Edtech tools, we refer to mainly online learning content, online websites, online platforms, applications that facilitate learning. Among the websites, we have what we call the MOOCs. So a MOOC is a mass open, online open course, a mass online open courseware that enables a number of people to enroll and learn. Usually MOOCs are a little bit cheaper because they take in a huge number of people, and in some instances, MOOCs are free. We also have several learning apps that enable us to learn on the go. We also have popular platforms like LinkedIn that can enable us to learn. We have Udemy, we have Coursera, we have EDX, and lots of more that we have used or we have not yet used. So continuing with Edtech, we are going to look at types of Edtech solutions. And we say, as I've said, we have physical and online tools, but we're going to focus mainly on the online tools because it's what appeals to most of us as freelancers. Some of the physical tools, before I go ahead, we have the blackboards, we have the rulers, we have the dusters, we have the projectors, we have the charts. All those ones are physical Edtechs. But for our case, mainly what appeals to us is digital platforms, and we shall concentrate on the digital platforms for today. So what are some of the types of Edtech solutions? So we have online courses and MOOCs like Coursera and Edtech offer a vast range of subjects, often taught by industry experts. So if I can continue, if you have ever enrolled on one of the platforms, Edtech or Coursera, you can put a Y in the chat, and if you have never, you can put an N in the chat to signify no. Okay, I'm seeing only Ys. So we could have maybe one of the people that have said Y. We would have some of the people that have said Y to share a brief story about the experience. And also, did you manage to complete the course? Now I'm seeing the no after asking the clarifying question. Okay, all right. So the ones that have said why, could you share with us briefly why your experience on one of those platforms, mainly Coursera or Edtech, and what you feel, what you learned from there? Okay, I can begin with myself. I enrolled on a course on Edtech. It is called it's a master's track in data science by MIT Data Science track. It's a one-year course, and I managed to complete it. Before that, I enrolled for several courses that I didn't complete. I usually studied in the middle, jumped to another one, studied in the middle, because mainly maybe I didn't have a learning plan, and there was no justification for me to learn them. I was just feeling that I need to learn. But when I got justification to learn data science, that was when I was doing a freelance gig, and I needed to do some data analysis. I needed to handle really serious data. We are developing a data platform for education, and it needed someone with skills in data science. So I had to learn some of those skills to be able to catch up to what the client requires. And my experience was like online learning sometimes could be like freelancing. It could get a little bit lonely. The community are not so active sometimes, and sometimes the communities are not there. So you're learning alone with the screen, and you have to push yourself. So going on to another thing, Edtech solution, we have what we call the learning management systems, or LMS, like Blackboard and Canvas. So Blackboard is an LMS that enables learners to acquire skills, schools to enroll and teach masses. So are used by institutions, but also valuable for individual learners. Then you also have mobile learning apps like Duolingo for languages mainly. Some of you are even tutors on Duolingo. Some of you take on gigs to teach languages on Duolingo. It's a good thing. Then you also have virtual and augmented reality. Which provide immersive learning experiences, particularly useful in fields like medicine and architecture. So VR and AR are really important, mostly for the practical freelancing work. That is, when I say practical, that needs physical hard skills, because it shows you in real time how something could be done, and you could be able to do it very, very well. So there's also an opportunity here for freelancers who are in development, because AR and VR are still lacking in terms of applications that are suitable for it to be able to move forward, in terms of the right platforms that could be used to utilize the tools, the very powerful tools, to have meaningful products. And then artificial intelligence and machine learning, it helps personalize experiences, adapting content to individual needs. So AI, I know who has never used ChatGPT in this room. You can just type yes if you've never used ChatGPT. Okay, if you have used it, you can type why and how you discovered it. Just one person to tell us when they started using ChatGPT and how they discovered it. Kisuvika, Joshua, would you like to share with us how you discovered ChatGPT?
Well, I was doing my work, so I got stuck. But during that time, my Moko had come to visit me home. He's the final student at Makerere University in computer science. So he told me, no, why don't you try this ChatGPT? But I'd never even heard of the word ChatGPT. So he tried to figure it out on my phone and put on, he said, this is how it works. So when I typed in whatever I wanted, I could get information on just at a click. So that's how I got to learn about ChatGPT. Up to now, I'm using ChatGPT for other things I'm researching about.
Okay, thanks very much, Sseruwagi. Catherine, would you like to share with us how you discovered ChatGPT and how it has helped you as a freelancer?
Yeah, I discovered it through a friend. I think when it had just come out, she told me, she's a freelancer as well, so she told me about ChatGPT. I was skeptical about it at first, but I started using it. It's been really, really helpful for me because I also write a lot of proposals. I work in the humanitarian sector. So I have to like write a lot of proposals and things like that. So it helps me when I need like quick information to be able to understand like a context or a concept. It has also helped me with report writing because I need to summarize things sometimes and I don't have the time. It will take too long. So yeah, it's been really helpful in that aspect.
Thanks very much, Catherine, for sharing. And me, how I discovered ChatGPT. I think I was doing a freelance gig. I was with a couple of friends of mine from different countries. So they had discovered it before in the US. It was there. We had not yet known about it. And this lady who was the team lead of the project was like, okay, there's this new interesting tool that you can just tell anything and it answers you, like, what's that? It's like, okay, she told it, generate a rap song between a traffic officer and a reckless driver. So it generated lyrics, and then she was able to sing a karaoke about it. It was so fascinating because at that point, I'm like, okay, this thing, everything that I want, it can generate it. So I started using it somehow, and I delved deeper into it, how to make it work for me very well, because I realized that when you use it as it is, you'll not be able to get what you want, but you have to find the right parameters and the right questions to ask it in order for you to train it to give you a little bit of accurate answers. So Master Godfrey is saying, me, I started using ChatGPT when I joined my year 1 at university with one of my friends, and it's really quick and simplifies work and life. Hope you don't use it for coursework. Okay. So moving on to the next thing. Thank you very much all for sharing your contributions. So leveraging Edtech for freelance success. How can we use Edtech to succeed as freelancers? So there are a few things that we can look at. One is identifying learning needs. So you can start with self-assessment, identifying areas where you need improvement on your skills that could open up new opportunities. So identifying learning needs. As a freelancer, you must be able to clearly identify what you need to learn or what is relevant to you at a certain point, because there's a lot of knowledge out there and you'll be exposed to a lot of things, but you have to filter out and be like, okay, what do I need? What makes sense to me now? What will make sense to me in some time to come? Or what does not make sense to me? So I could just pause a little bit briefly here, because we have reached our mark and we could take like a 2 minutes break. But as we're taking that break, we could reflect on how can I identify my learning gaps as a freelancer? So I'm going to type this question in the chat. So as you're taking the 2 minutes break, we could ask ourselves, how can we identify learning gaps as freelancers? So we could just take a brief break. You would resume at around 8 minutes.
Yeah, guys, get a cup of tea, cup of coffee, or drink some water, stretch, breathe in, and then we continue. While you are thinking about how can you identify learning gaps.
So as we enjoy the ambient music, let's be thinking about how we can identify the learning gaps as freelancers. So one more minute, then we shall resume. Okay, welcome back to the second half of our session. I know it's been one whole long 1 hour, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you now the views that you have about identifying learning needs. You can just briefly put up your hand, or you can unmute and speak, or you can just type in the chat. So the question is, how can you identify learning gaps as a freelancer? Your own learning gaps or learning needs as a freelancer? I hope we are back. Are we back? Sseruwagi, Joshua?
Yeah, I think you can use a SWOT analysis to identify your needs, know your strength, your weakness, areas you want to improve. Yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. So you can use a SWOT analysis. You look at your strengths, your weakness, the opportunities available, and then the threats available to you to be able to look at what you need to learn, what direction you need to take, what skills you need. Shiba says, whenever you fail to accomplish a challenge because you lack a specific skill, that is very good. So that's something that will help you to learn a new skill, because of course you fail to accomplish and you have no option but to learn. Joan says, feedback from clients. Yeah, that's very crucial. So clients can give you some feedback and you can use that to improve or to determine what you need to add on your skill set to be able to provide quality work to your clients. Anyone else, what they think, how they determine that they need to learn something new? Ronald Sankara says, collaboration with other freelancers. You can learn from what others are doing to up your game. That's very good. Collaboration is very good. By the way, when you're collaborating, when you're a freelancer, you should learn maybe some tasks that you know that you cannot take on, because when you take on tasks that are above your weight, you sometimes you spoil your reputation, because you can mess up the tasks and your reputation goes with those tasks. So sometimes it's important to know when to consult as a freelancer and to know when to work collaboratively with other freelancers to accomplish a certain task, and you must be open about that. So Joan Nakaiwa says, check out the competition. Correct. So when you look at what other people are offering, services are offering in the same field, whether you can cope up with them and what you're going to do to cope up with them, and that will determine exactly the level of skills that you need. Kamali Innocent says, whenever you see someone better than you, I can't make a way of want to learn something new. So it makes you to want something new. So whenever you see someone better than them, that's very good. It enables you to determine what you need to learn, or what are some of your skills gap. Moronji Ruth says, advancement in technology. Yes, technology is keeps on evolving, and in order for you to stay in line or to stay ahead of the curve, you must keep on learning. As I've told you, if you look back 5 years ago, ChatGPT was nowhere to be seen, but now it has come and it has disrupted a lot of things. People rely on ChatGPT more than they rely on Google these days, because those days you just say, you just Google, you want something, Google. And now there's ChatGPT and other AI that can do that better, and they filter for you, they write exact answer that you need. So Kamali also says, whenever you see someone better than you, makes you want to learn something new. That is perfect. Roland Sankara says, look out for emerging trends in your space. That is correct. Upskilling will also help you serve your clients better. So emerging trends, it's always good to be ahead of the curve. Look out at the emerging trends that are coming in your field. How do you do this? By reading newspapers, by being in like-minded spaces, online and offline, by attending conferences. Because how do you manage to earn a lot of clients is that when you're ahead of the curve, if a new technology comes out and you know how to use it, then you're most likely to get a lot of clients than the people who don't know how to use that tool. Right now, if you look up on Upwork, you're seeing people hiring people to manage or train their ChatGPT. It's now a job. Someone needs you to train their ChatGPT so that they can be able to give them meaningful responses. So looking at the trends of how things are moving can help you to stay ahead of the game and have meaningful income. And then we can look at some of the things like setting clear and achievable learning goals. So if you align these with your career goals or what your future prospects are, so you look at what you want to achieve in your field as a freelancer, what are your goals, what are your objectives, and then you pin those on the skills that you have. Okay, I want to achieve X, Y, Z. Do I have skills A, B, C, D? What do I need to achieve my goals? Then from there, you can take it from there and you'll be like, okay, look, I need to learn certain skill to enable push me to where I want to go. For example, if I'm working as a freelance software engineer or developer, I'll look at what frameworks are being used, what are the most popular technologies that are being used, how can I do to learn them, do I know them, is this something that I can work with? So those are some of the things that you would ask yourself. So you can also choose the right Edtech tools. So this involves also choosing the right Edtech tools. After knowing, for example, you've known the goals or the learning gaps that you have as a freelancer, you could look at now what are the Edtech tools or the education tools available. You could look at maybe, can I go to LinkedIn? Can I go to Udemy? Can I go to edX? Can I go to Coursera? Are there local learning tools that I can use if my tasks are more primarily in Uganda? Then from there, you could start your journey of upskilling. So when choosing the right EdTech platform, consider factors like content quality. First, you should look at the content; it should be quality. Before LinkedIn acquired, before LinkedIn acquired this platform, it was called Monday.com, or it was called Lynda.com. So Lynda.com was one of the best platforms for skilling, mostly when it comes to tech-related topics. And they had the best videos, the best explainers, the best teachers, and LinkedIn acquired it. So right now, if you look for Lynda.com, it can be very hard for you to get it. So you look at such platforms and you evaluate, what do I get from LinkedIn a lot? Can I afford its services? Can I afford, are there free courses that can give me the same quality? So if you look out at all those options and you exhaust them, then you can settle down maybe for a paid service. What mostly disturbs freelancers in Uganda or Africa is that most of these services are very expensive for us, and we struggle to afford them. You find that you can find a very good course on LinkedIn and they're telling it's $200, on Udemy $300, and you really want this course. So you could sometimes collect money to invest in yourself, but not so many people can afford these courses. So it's always good to know what does the market offer, what is there on the table, and skim through and see where can I get the best deal in terms of price, in terms of quality. So also look at flexibility. Does the EdTech tool allow you to be flexible around your time, or it's a program that says it's running strictly from January to March? If you have paid your money, if you miss in those 3 months, then you cannot come back and do the course. So you should always look at flexibility. There are some courses that give you a span of 3 years to complete. You learn at your pace and you can be able to complete. But there are others that are strict on time and they want the learning to happen in a specific period of time, and the program closes. So also you look at the platform reputation, because now you're going to be looking out for clients, also Outlook. Some of the freelancers post this qualification on their LinkedIn or their other websites, and clients look out for such qualifications. For example, a certified Python developer, certified software engineer, certified project management profession. Such qualifications usually add weight, and depending on the reputation of the EdTech you've got it from. For example, if you have done a certificate in software engineering from Harvard, of course, it will not weigh the same like from any other university. So you should look at those factors while trying to choose an Edtech. So you also can compare popular platforms like Coursera, which gives university level courses, Udemy, which has a wide range of affordable courses, and LinkedIn, which is good for professional development. So you should look at what works for you and what is easy for you, what is affordable for you, what makes sense to you at that specific time. So as I'm just winding up this specific topic of leveraging Edtech for freelance success, I would like to get your views. What factors do you consider mostly? What are the two most important factors for you while choosing a platform to scale? So I'm just going to type the question in chat as well. So you, as maybe someone that has used Edtech platforms before, I would just like to pick your mind. What are some of the two most important factors you consider while? So Kisuvika Joshua says cost and need. So for him, he looks at cost. Is it affordable to him? Then if it's affordable to him, he asks himself, do I need it? Then he can proceed to enroll. So we can hear from like 3 more people, and then we move on to something different. So you can feel free to put up your hand, and you can feel free to type in the chat. So just in case you've not heard, what are the two most important factors you consider while enrolling on an Edtech platform? Okay, so we will move forward. So Roland Sankara says, recommendations from past students or reviews. Okay, those ones are very important. Recommendations are very important. Actually, it makes more sense before you buy any course online or you enroll for any platform, you look at the reviews. If the reviews are not good, most cases it's not a good course. If the reviews are not good, if the rating is not good, for example, you might find out of 5 it has 2, it has 3, then it's not a very good platform. And also look at the number of people that are reviewing. You might find that someone built their app or platform and they're reviewing it themselves or with a group of friends. So you find that it has like 10 reviews and they're all saying 5 out of 5. But in actual sense, it doesn't represent actually the score on quality. So Joan Nakaiwa says credibility, that's very much important. Having a credible qualification as a freelance helps you to acquire more gigs. There are certain freelance gigs that require you to actually provide qualifications for you to qualify as a freelance for that. In some developed countries, freelancing is really recognized. They even have contracts for freelancers, and freelancers pay taxes. Freelancers enter into contracts, professional contracts. So that's something that you should look out in terms of qualification. And then Kamali says the compatibility of the platform. Of course, compatibility of the platform. Is the platform compatible to you? Can you use it to learn? Are you adaptable to the skills required for you to learn from that platform? course, it's not advisable for him to enroll in a platform that you cannot even use, because learning will not take place most definitely. Okay. So Sankara was saying there, and then he stopped. I don't know whether he needs to complete that. So the accessibility of the platform, that's very good. The platform must be accessible, easily accessible, and content must be easily accessible, because you don't want to learn a course and then you go back on the platform, the course is missing, or content has changed overnight. You don't want that. You need a stable platform. Okay. So let's go on to building a continuous learning plan. So continuous learning demands that we learn every day and acquire. We learn every day and acquire knowledge, and keep ahead of our curve, because you see that continuous demanding learns that you learn every time. It demands that when you stop learning, that's when you're dead. So let's look at how we can make a continuous learning plan. So some of the aspects of a continuous learning plan are creating a learning schedule, so dedicating specific times of the week to learning. Even an hour or a day can make a significant difference. One of the traps in continuous learning is most people want to learn a lot of things at the same time. So you find that someone wants to learn coding, they want to learn graphic design, they want to learn website development, they want to learn everything, and they enroll in all those courses. So it's a trap. Usually you end up learning none, because you end up being demoralized, because the content will be a lot, you have no time, you'll be frustrated, and you just end up giving up. You'll be like, okay, why am I stressing myself with this? No one is holding me accountable. So when we talk about the aspects of creating a learning schedule, in your experience as freelancers, how do you manage your time while you're trying to learn a new skill? For example, you have a contract, or you have a freelance contract, you have a gig that you're working on. How can you manage your time as a freelancer in terms of balancing learning something new and also juggling the tasks that you're having at the same time? So I could just speak like one person to give us a reflection on maybe the time when they learned something new, and when they're working on a gig, and how they manage to keep their time. So feel free to unmute and talk. Feel free to type in the chat. This is a freelancers community, so let's feel free. Okay, I'm just waiting for one person to give me a reflection. For example, take an example. You're working on a gig, but then you realize you need something. You have a skill that is missing for you to accomplish that task effectively. How did you juggle your time between learning that new skill that is required versus completing the task that has been assigned to you? So you can just share your personal experience if you've ever encountered that.
Yes. Okay. I remember I just finished university, that is 2015. And I happened to work on a first project. It was an agricultural project, but then my background was not in agriculture. So I thought, how can I blend? And because the people I was working with were they were highly experienced the principal researcher in the research institute for the government and other master students. And I was just a recent graduate. So what I decided is to enroll for a postgraduate diploma in project planning and management at Uganda Management Institute, because we are working on developing projects, working with international organization. So I felt like I was the old man out, but I had to do the work. So I enrolled for an evening class at UMI, and that's how I got to know how to manage a project from the start to finish and all those things. Yeah, that's my experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. I can relate how you juggle between UMI and then your gig. It's quite a task. So how me, in my experience, how I managed to cope with continuous learning while I was having a gig. I enrolled when I was starting out my career in data science. Okay, Kamal is asking how best can you explain to the meaning of the word gig, because I'm assuming it means project, so I'm not sure if I'm right about that. So gig is just an informal word to mean a job that you're doing or a task that you're doing. So it could be a project, it could be anything. So you're right. So in my personal experience, it was quite a challenge at the start. I had really weird working shifts. So I was working with people from different time zones. Specifically, my work would start at around 6 p.m. and it goes all the way up to around almost 6 a.m. So I had that opportunity that during the day I could take on a class to improve my skills in data science, but also it presents a challenge that, okay, if you're studying during day and then you're working during night, when are you going to have some time to rest? So that's the main challenge that I face. But I managed to adjust as we go on, because I spoke to the instructors and I could get flexible time schedules for my education. And that's how I managed to juggle. So if you go on to the next thing, balance work and learning by integrating learning into your daily routine, use downtime productively, then tracking progress and staying motivated. So tools like Asana and Trello help you to track your learning progress. They help you set milestones and celebrate achievements. So I hope some of us have used Asana and Trello. If you've used Asana before, you can say why. If you have not used it, you can say N, and then we can determine if you could talk about it a little bit, because it's a very important tool for freelancers, mostly in terms of project management, in terms of time management and management of tasks. Okay, so Kamal is said has never used Asana before. Catherine has used it. Sseruwagi has used it. Masa has never used it. Okay, so Asana specifically is a project management app or project management platform that enables you to outline your tasks and follow through timelines. You can work on it as a team, so you could be able to follow in real time what someone is doing on the project. They could give you feedback in real time, but you could also use it for your personal space to manage your time, to manage your tasks that you're having, also to manage whatever thing that you're doing. So during your free time, you could look out Asana. Let me see if I can share a link. You can also download it as an app on your phone, because it's very crucial in terms of project management. There are many other project management apps that you could use, but me personally, I find Asana very productively. So you could look in the chat and maybe try to visit Asana and see if it works for you as a freelance. Because to me, it has worked for me. There is also ClickUp for task management and project management. We also used it before. Also Trello, used it before. And all those tools are very important to help you organize yourself as a freelancer. So stay motivated by connecting with learning communities, joining study groups, and setting rewards for reaching your goals. So it's very important to have study groups and learning communities that could help you stay motivated, because when you're doing, sometimes when you're on an edtech platform, for example, you have a learning website where you're learning a skill and you are alone, sometimes you can feel demotivated, sometimes it can get lonely and you end up giving up or dropping out of the course. So if you are on, if your learning is better for you to get a learning community that could help you to stay motivated and stay ahead of the curve. So in the next section, we're just going to be sharing our stories, or our success stories of the time that when we enrolled for a course that helped us and how it helped us. So that's going to be case studies and success stories, so specifically. So in our next section, we're going to look at case studies and success stories. So what you're going to do here is just very simple. So Musunguzi Peter says, when developing for EdTech, for example, the MOOC, which is usually free, how best can one make money from it? Oh, okay. So yeah, so you can make money from developing MOOCs by subscriptions, by okay, if it's free, you can make money by selling it to an organization that wants to enroll people for free, by advertising on the MOOC, to generate some revenue, by leveraging it as a resource platform for organizations that are like-minded, that support free education, so that you could get funding from it. In this section, it's going to be like our second last session before we can break off. We're going to look at case studies and success stories. So this is going to be an interactive session. Just once again, feel free. This is an open conversation. You can share your success story. You could share the time that you use an EdTech and maybe a success story, or use the website to learn something, use YouTube to learn something, use an application to learn something. And what are your success stories? You could begin by telling us maybe the field that you work in, and what skill that you acquired, what's the skill that you acquired, and how that impacted your freelancing work. Okay. So I'm just gonna have to reiterate you could just tell us the field in which you work from, just like a networking session. But this will help us to also know what you do, so that maybe there are people that might have projects that will help you co-create, will help you collaborate, and maybe connect you to prospective clients. So this is just like a simple networking session, but we're also sharing our experiences through EdTech and freelancing, what you've learned so far. So you can feel free to put up your hand, or you can just type in the chat, whatever works for you, works best. Okay. Okay. So just let me just briefly take you through some of the case studies. Some of the case studies I wanted to hear from you, the community. Your scenario where you used EdTech and how it helped transform your freelancing career, or it helped transforming the work that you do. Roland, you can go ahead and speak.
Excuse me. Thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. So for me, it was a platform called Udacity, and I'm a software engineer. My name is Roland Sankara. Sorry for not introducing, but so in my work as a software engineer, I do, yes, work projects, software and all. But I was at the time, teaching myself DevOps, and wasn't very easy, but at least through the investment on platforms like initially there's a platform called Code with Mosh. I enrolled there, got a Docker course, did it, and learned how to use Docker. And I must say I'm now very proficient with it, containerization of Docker. But I wanted to go a little bit higher in that, and opportunity presented itself, and I enrolled for Udacity, and that was a game changer. It was like, I think 3 months, 4 months program, and I learned everything to do with cloud DevOps, but then also cloud development, cloud native development. And for me, it changed my game in that I was able to now learn container orchestration using Kubernetes. And I also learned a lot about AWS, everything to do with AWS. So for me, it was a great way for me to upskill. It really upped my game. And I can say I can have from then on been able to offer not just software, and then tell the client, you know what, you can look for someone to do the hosting or whatever cloud stuff. I'm not familiar. I know the whole process from development to deployment, and not just deployment, but deployment for scale and also for high availability. So I think it's been very helpful for me, and I think anyone else on the call, if it's something that you haven't thought about, I think it's a good thing. There are lots of tools out there and platforms especially that can help you up your game, really, like it's happened for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Roland, for sharing your success story with Udacity and the platforms that you work with. I highly agree. If you dedicate your time and work and put in a lot of effort, you could be able to learn a lot of skills from the online platforms, mostly from the Edtech platforms that are available. I have a friend of mine, a software engineer, who learned the whole Python programming from Udemy, from a Python course, and is very proficient at it. He's done lots of trainings in institutions, even banks, but he learned it from Udemy. At Hire, Collins says, I am a software dev. I use Edtech to generate leads. I taught a few coding boot camps. I taught a few coding boot camps on some Edtech platforms, and one of my students got me customers and later became one of my co-founders. Wow, that's really inspiring. So also you notice that from Edtech platforms, you could get leads, you could get gigs from there, because you find that you're participating on Edtech platform sometimes as an instructor. It's not only you as a student, so you're participating as an instructor, and you can be able to share. You can be able to get leads and clients from there. So Roland says that's awesome. Anyone else to share their success story? Gerard, your hand is up.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Right. For my case, I do product management, and I used while trying to practice this thing, I realized I needed to learn some skill to do with digital marketing. So for anyone interested in digital marketing, there is a platform called SEMrush Academy, and I think it's the authority when it comes to digital marketing. So that's why I went and enrolled for some courses in social media marketing, SEO, and yeah, mostly those. And currently I'm doing freelancing in digital marketing. So I have my job as a product manager, but also digital marketing, something I'm offering to my client.
Thanks very much, Gerald. I think that's really inspiring. Can you help us and type in the chat the platform that you use for digital marketing? Also, Roland, can you help us type in the chat the platform used for DevOps? Maybe someone might be interested and they could check it out later. We can take like 2 more people to share their success stories. Remember, feel free to share your stories. You never know, there might be someone that might be interested in this chat, in this call. They could help with you later for a gig or a contract or something. So you can share your success stories, how you're inspired by Edtech. Kamali, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Let me hope you are able to hear me.
Hi, Kamali, we can hear you very well.
Okay. Well, for me, I am simply a student who is studying BBC at MOOBS. And recently, me and my friends were coming up with a project of our own. So we are planning to do a platform, an e-learning platform that is focusing on localizing our education system, because we realize that most systems that are in Uganda, which are focusing on e-learning platforms, are majorly dealing in international wise. So we're planning to come up with an e-learning platform that supports majorly primary education, because most platforms are most e-learning platforms are majorly in universities. So we're planning to come up with such an idea of building a platform whereby it will be easy for, like, it will be a user-friendly platform, at the same time very cheap and affordable platform for students, whereby students will be our customers, though the core customers will be the parents, because they'll be the ones who will be paying the money, not the students. Though the students will be the what? They will be the the users, yeah. So that's what we are planning to do with my friends. So, but though we are just students who are learning BBC, who are learning how to use how to use JavaScript, Visual Code, then you shall be able to learn other skills with time to come. For example, graphic design, videography, content creation, such things. Yeah, so that is what we are trying to do, though we are not yet there perfectly. So we're just learning those skills. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kamali, for sharing with us your experience. Just maybe I would like to invite you for a conversation at the Innovation Village concerning what you're trying to build. If you have some time, you can pass by there during the course of the weekend. We can talk a lot. We can talk more about it and see maybe how we can be able to support you if it's an Edtech startup as you're talking. Maybe we could get one more person as we're moving towards the conclusion of this. I'm seeing a lot of ladies in the room, but I've not yet heard from a lady in terms of experience. So you could feel free if you're here and you want to share your experience. If you're a lady and you want to share with us your experience, you never know, there could be like-minded people that you could connect with, and they could help push your product or push your gig, or help you learn something new, or introduce you to a circle that might help you. So usually I encourage freelancers or anyone that is doing business. If you're given a platform to speak and there are people that are like-minded, you can always go ahead to speak, because it helps you find the right avenues or the right people to connect with, or they can connect you to communities that will help you thrive as an individual. So Roland saying, as a technical mentor, I use tools like Kahoot and LMSs like LearnDash to learn technology. Yeah, that's really amazing. To teach mostly, because you're a mentor, so to teach. That's really amazing. Okay. So as we're edging closer to the end of our session, I would just like to open the floor for these last minutes for a Q&A. If we don't have anyone giving their experience, I'd like to open the session for a Q&A. So you can feel free to ask about all the topics that we've covered from the beginning, or anything you'd like to know about Edtech, and specifically Edtech and specifically freelancing. So you can always feel free to ask these questions. I'll be able to answer you, or I'll be happy to answer you. Or in case there is anyone in the chat that would like to answer a specific question, you can always put up your hand and try to address that. So as we are thinking of the questions, I have just a simple reflection for you. I would like you to tell me just 3 things you have learned from the session. So you can tell me 3 things that you learned from the session. Letty Nachtende says, can I enroll for an online course in human resource management and the best platform? So this still goes to you, the audience. If anyone knows an online platform that does human resource, they can be able to answer her. Online course that does human resource management, and what's the best platform for that? So as we are thinking about that, you can just briefly unmute and tell me just 3 things you've learned from the session, and then we can be able to close. Quickly, you just hint on them, and then we can be able to close. Tuguma is saying he didn't know that tools like rollers and dusters are Edtech. Okay, they're non-digital Edtech. So now that you've learned something, rollers and dusters are Edtechs because the technology, even blackboards are Edtechs, the technology that are used in learning. Although usually when you talk of technology, people think of the fancy things like computers, internet, and the like. So any other person can just give anything you've learned. You can feel free to type in the chat as we're closing. You can feel free to type anything you've learned from the chat, or you can just unmute and see what you've learned, and then we can be able to close. We are left with only 6 minutes to close, so you can use them to reflect on what you've learned so far, and maybe you can have any further questions, you can always ask. So Chisubika says, can you share the slide with Edtech Blackboard etc? I think I'll be able to share it in the freelancers group. I'll be able to share with you a slide on Edtech, on the collective Edtech in-depth. So what Edtech is, the tools for Edtech, the digital and non-digital tools. I'll share with you an in-depth slide. Massa Godfrey says, I've learned how to identify learning gaps as a freelancer. That's really nice. Massa view. I hope you use it to improve yourself as a freelancer and be able to get maybe more leads. Kamari says, I learned that even professionals use ChatGPT. Wow. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked if you make a survey of the people who use ChatGPT. You'll be shocked. Even some people that you think don't use it, you'll be the ones using it a lot, actually. Yeah, they use it like any other tool. When it has just come in, it faces resistance, but with time, people get to adapt to it and they understand how to use it, and it makes sense. Joan Nakaiwa says, continuous learning allows you to increase your skills and value on the market. That's good for you, Joan. And I hope you take a journey for continuous learning and you're able to generate more leads. So I'm looking forward to hearing from most of you. So Kasule Nasa, I don't know if I'm measuring your name well, but the A's are not there. So it says, Kasule Nasa says, Kaizen fully learned. That's good. So Kaizen is, those of you who are not well acquainted with Kaizen, is a Japanese philosophy that talks about continuous learning or continuous improvement through iterations. So, for example, you can keep on learning a small skill every day. By the end of the year, you've learned a whole lot of things that collectively add up to your skills. So the other even Japanese philosophies is what we call the Ichigai, finding your purpose. I know this is really important for freelancers. It's something that I wish I had spoken about. It's called the Ichigai. So the Ichigai is finding true purpose for yourself. So it helps you to generate leads, to filter out leads that will work for you in terms of money earning, work for you in terms of passion, work for you in terms of strength. So be able to do something that you love and also something that you can be able to make money from. Yes, so we only left with 2 minutes. We only left with 2 minutes. So we are left with 2 minutes to close. So I don't know if we can have a word from Andrew. Andrew, do you want to close this?
Nah, not really. You have everything in order. I think you are a very experienced trainer, aka teacher. You have a lot of experience. I have relaxed also and taken notes. This is the only session where I'm relaxing. Yeah, so you finish what you started, sir.
Okay. Is it called throwing under the bus? Okay. All right. Yeah, so thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you very much, the audience, the freelance community. It's been an honor and pleasure to speak to you, share with you my experiences, to introduce you to Edtech. In case you have any questions about Edtech and the Edtech community at the Innovation Village, you can always reach out to me. You can always throw something in the chat about Edtech. For those of you that have Edtech startups and might need support here and there in terms of business involvement, you can always reach out to me as well. We can bring you in our community and we can offer support to you. We also have the Edtech Mondays that run, and we encourage entrepreneurs and young professionals in Edtech space to come and give their views. So you can always reach out to me on that opportunity. It's an opportunity that will put you in the limelight and also put your startup in the limelight. We also have another program called the CodeQuest. Sorry, not the CodeQuest. It's called the Stempreneur Connect, where we encourage innovators in Edtech. Thank you very much. Once again, my name is Sseruwagi Abdallah, and I lead Edtech at the Innovation Village. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. I wish you all the best. Bye.